The champagne stopped mid-pour when the little girl screamed, "Mom's dying!" Clara Vance, CEO of Haven Biotech, collapsed on stage, her billion-dollar launch crumbling with her heartbeat. Everyone froze, except the janitor. Elias Moore dropped his mop and charged through the crowd like a man possessed. The executives who'd laughed at him minutes ago now watched in horror as his hands found her chest. This wasn't luck. This was war coming home. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Comment below what city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. Trust me, you need to stay until the end. This gets darker before it gets light. Your kind doesn't belong up here. That's what Marcus Hale told Elias 3 hours before Clara Vance's heart stopped beating. 3 hours before a 7-year-old girl watched her mother die. 3 hours before the man mopping floors became the only person in a room full of millionaires who knew how to save a life. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The ballroom of Haven Biotech glittered like new money always does. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors polished mirror bright. 500 guests in designer suits drinking champagne that cost more per bottle than Elias made in a week. They were here for the unveiling. The Life Pulse 3000. A defibrillator so smart it could predict heart attacks 30 seconds before they happened. The irony would be funny if it wasn't about to turn tragic. Elias pushed his yellow mop bucket along the wall head down, invisible. At 52, he'd mastered the art of being nobody. Blue coveralls 2 sizes too big, shoulders hunched, eyes on the floor. Just another piece of the furniture. His hands told a different story. Steady hands. Scarred hands. Hands that had tied tourniquets in 100-degree heat and stitched arteries by flashlight, while mortars screamed overhead. "Watch it!" A woman jerked her Louboutin heels away from his mop. She didn't look at his face. Nobody ever did. "Sorry, ma'am." "Do they just hire anyone?" she said to her companion. They laughed and walked away. Elias kept mopping. He'd heard worse. He'd been worse. Captain Elias Moore, combat medic, decorated veteran holder of 2 Bronze Stars and 1 Silver Star, he'd thrown in a drawer 5 years ago, and never looked at again. That life ended the day Private Ethan Hale died in his arms. 23 years old. Roadside bomb. Elias had worked on him for 11 minutes while waiting for the evac that came too late. He could still feel Ethan's blood on his hands. Still hear him calling for his mother. The military said it wasn't Elias's fault. The investigation cleared him. But Ethan's older brother didn't care about investigations. Marcus Hale, VP of Operations at Haven Biotech. Standing 30 feet away, in a suit that cost $4,000, laughing with shareholders who'd never seen blood that wasn't in a test tube. Marcus had made sure Elias's medical career died with his brother. Whispered in the right ears, made the right calls. No hospital would touch him. No clinic would hire him. His medical license got buried under enough bureaucratic red tape to choke an elephant. So Elias mopped floors and tried to forget he'd ever been anything else. The lights dimmed. Spotlight hit the stage. Clara Vance walked out, and the room exploded in applause. She was striking. Sharp suit, sharper eyes. 34 years old, and she'd built a medical empire from her dead father's garage startup. Forbes called her a visionary. Wall Street called her a genius. Her daughter just called her Mom. Ladies and gentlemen, her voice carried that smooth confidence of someone who'd never failed at anything. 5 years ago, my father died of cardiac arrest in our living room. The ambulance took 14 minutes. He was gone in 7. Practiced pause. Appropriate somber faces in the crowd. Tonight we make sure no family suffers what mine did. The Life Pulse 3000 doesn't just save lives. It prevents death before it happens. Applause. Camera flashes. Champagne corks popping. Elias noticed her left hand trembling as she gestured at the display model. Slight tremor. Easy to miss if you didn't know what to look for. Sweat on her temple despite the air conditioning running cold enough to see your breath. Old instincts kicked in. The ones Fort Sam Houston had drilled into his bones. The ones that never left no matter how many floors you mopped. Something was wrong. He moved closer. A security guard blocked his path. "Employees in the back. I just need to—" "Back, now." Elias retreated but kept watching. Clara's smile never wavered, but her breathing had gone shallow. Pupils dilated. She gripped the podium half a second too long between gestures. Classic signs. He'd seen them 100 times. Just never in a ballroom full of people too rich to notice. "And now, I'd like to demonstrate—" Clara's hand dropped. Not gracefully, like someone cut her strings. The room didn't notice. Clara caught herself on the podium, still smiling, still talking. You don't build empires by showing weakness. The Life Pulse's portability makes it— Her left knee buckled. Someone in front laughed, thinking it was choreographed. Clara grabbed the podium's edge, and for maybe 3 seconds, she tried to power through. God, she tried. Then her heart stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. Clara's eyes rolled back. She dropped. Her head cracked against the podium with a sound like a gunshot. Glass shattered. Blood spread across the white stage. 500 people froze. Then, chaos. "Clara, call 911. Oh God." Bodies surged forward. Someone knocked over a champagne tower. Glass exploded across marble, and cutting through everything, a child's voice. "Mommy!" Amelia Vance shoved through the crowd. 7 years old, pink dress. Her mother's dark hair in ribbons. She'd been in the VIP section with her grandmother, and now she was running, screaming, crying. "Mommy! Wake up! Please! Wake up!" She reached the stage as 2 executives tried to lift Clara's limp body. "Careful. Is she breathing? I can't find a pulse." They had no idea what they were doing. One tried chest compressions with his hands in completely the wrong position. Another slapped Clara's face like that would restart a stopped heart. Amelia threw herself across her mother's body, sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe. "Don't die. Mommy, please." Her grandmother tried to pull her back. "Sweetheart, let them." "No, someone help, Mom's dying. Please, Mom's dying." That scream. Raw. Animal. A child watching her world end. Elias moved. His feet carried him forward before his brain engaged. The security guard grabbed his arm. "Sir, you can't." Elias twisted free with a move from combatives training. Not rough, just firm. He was already running. Through the crowd, past shocked faces, up the stage steps. "Get back!" Marcus appeared, blocking his path. Recognition flashed in his eyes, then disgust. "You security." Elias didn't have time for old wounds. Clara's lips were blue. Chest wasn't rising. Fingernails turning gray at the edges. Maybe 90 seconds before brain damage started. 2 minutes before permanent damage. 4 before nothing mattered. "Move." Not the janitor voice. The command voice. The one that had ordered men through gunfire. "You're not a doctor, Moore. You're nobody." 2 guards started up the stairs. Elias looked at Amelia. The little girl curled over her mother, pink dress stained with blood. Her eyes met his, and he saw every family member he'd ever had, to notify every person who'd begged him to do the impossible. "Please," Amelia whispered. "Please save my mommy." Time fractured. Elias saw Ethan Hale bleeding out in Afghan sand. Saw the light leaving his eyes while Elias tried everything, and it wasn't enough. He saw the silver star buried under bills in his apartment. He saw the mop in his hands and the coveralls that had become his disguise. Then he saw Clara Vance dying while people who had no idea how to save her stood around taking videos. No more hiding. Elias shoved past Marcus hard enough to make him stumble. The guards lunged, but he was already dropping beside Clara, fingers finding her carotid. No pulse. Pupils fixed. Approximately 45 seconds since collapse. "Get an AED." His voice cracked like a whip. "Now!" The executive stared. The janitor was giving orders. "Move, no pulse. Someone find that life pulse. Someone call 911. Everyone else, back up." Something in his tone cut through panic. People started moving. A woman ran for the emergency kit. Someone shouted into a phone. Elias tilted Clara's head back, checked her airway, found nothing blocking it. He positioned his hands, laced his fingers, started compressions. Hard. Fast. 120 per minute. The rhythm came back like muscle memory. 1, 2, 3, 4. What are you doing? Marcus tried to pull him off. You'll kill her. Elias didn't break rhythm. She's already dead. I'm bringing her back. Amelia, sweetheart, I need you to go to your grandmother. No! The girl clung to her mother's arm. Amelia. His voice gentled without losing authority. I'm going to help your mommy, but I need space. Can you be brave? The grandmother wrapped her arms around the sobbing child and pulled her back. 15, 16, 17. Someone ran up with the Life Pulse display model in its presentation case. This is all we have. Turn it on. There should be pads. It's a demo unit. It's not charged. Of course, the revolutionary life-saving device wasn't actually functional at its own launch party. The Life Pulse 3000, revolutionary. Also apparently decorative. Regular AED building emergency kit. Second floor, someone's getting it? Clara's ribs flexed under his palms. He might be cracking them. Didn't matter. Broken ribs healed. Dead didn't. 28, 29, 30. 2 rescue breaths through his sleeve barrier. Her chest rose. Airway clear. Good. Back to compressions. The crowd had pulled back now, giving space. Phones everywhere. Recording. This would be viral before the ambulance arrived. The janitor doing CPR on the CEO while her company's miracle device sat useless in its fancy case. AED's here. Someone crashed through with a red box. Open it. Turn it on. Pads on her chest, upper right, lower left. A young executive with shaking hands tore Clara's dress open. Buttons scattered. He fumbled the pads. Faster. Every second counts. He finally got the pads attached. The AED powered on with a cheerful beep that sounded obscene. Analyzing rhythm. Do not touch patient. Elias pulled back. Everyone held their breath. Amelia's crying was the only sound. Shock advised. Stand clear. Clear! Elias made sure no one was touching her. The AED shocked. Clara's body jerked. Nothing. No pulse. Continue CPR. Elias was already back at it. 1, 2, 3. His shoulders burned. Sweat dripped into his eyes. He'd done this dozens of times in the field, but never since leaving the service. Never since swearing he'd never be responsible for another life. Come on, Clara. Your daughter needs you. Come on. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. Sir, ambulance is 8 minutes out. 8 minutes. She wouldn't last 8 minutes without circulation. Nobody would. Get me something to kneel on. Someone shoved a coat under him. Better angle. More efficient compressions. 45. 46. 47. Analyzing rhythm. Elias pulled back. Waited. Prayed to a God he stopped believing in 5 years ago. No shock advised. Continue CPR. Back to work. His arms screamed. CPR was exhausting even with training, and he hadn't done this in half a decade. But his hands remembered what his mind wanted to forget. 1, 2, 3. More. Marcus's voice quieter now. Uncertain. How long can you keep this up? Long as it takes. 4, 5, 6. If her brain, then help her shut up. 7, 8, 9. Marcus shut up. The room had gone silent. No more panic, no more shouting. Just Elias's hands against Clara's sternum and Amelia's soft crying, and 500 people who'd learned they were useless when it mattered. 60, 70, 80. Analyzing rhythm. Please, please, Shock advised. Stand clear. Clear. The shock hit. Clara's body arced off the stage. Elias felt for her carotid, and there it was. Faint. Thready. But there. A pulse. "She's back!" His voice broke. "I've got a pulse!" Amelia screamed. Not terror this time. Hope. Clara's chest rose on its own. Shallow but steady. Her eyelids fluttered, moved, opened. The room erupted. Cheering. Applause. Crying. Elias sagged back, hands shaking from exertion. He was covered in sweat and blood. Knees raw. Shoulders felt dislocated. Clara's eyes opened. Confused. Disoriented. She tried to sit up. "Easy." Elias gently held her shoulder. "You're okay. Lie still. Ambulance is coming." She looked at him. Really looked. For the first time someone actually saw him. "Who?" Barely a whisper. "Just the janitor, ma'am." "Mommy." Amelia broke free, crawled to her mother carefully. "You're alive." Clara wrapped weak arms around her daughter. Both crying now. Paramedics burst through the doors, equipment rattling. Elias stood, his legs almost giving out, and backed away. His job was done. Time to disappear again. That's what janitors did. "Wait!" Clara's hand shot out, grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. "Don't go. What's your name?" "Elias Moore." "Elias." She held his gaze. "You saved my life." "Anyone would have—" "No, they wouldn't. They didn't. You did." The paramedics loaded her onto a stretcher, checking vitals, hooking monitors. But Clara didn't let go of his wrist. "I want to thank you properly. Tomorrow. My office." "That's not necessary. It's an order." A ghost of her smile. "From your CEO." Then they wheeled her away. Amelia and grandmother following, and Elias stood on a blood-stained stage in front of 500 people who suddenly couldn't stop staring. Marcus stood there, face unreadable. Around him, executives whispered, "That's the janitor." Where did he learn that? Someone said military. He knew exactly what to do. Elias walked down the steps through the crowd that parted like water. Past security guards who didn't try to stop him now. He found his mop bucket. The water had spilled across marble. He knelt to clean it. "Leave it." A voice above him. The older board member with kind eyes. "Someone else will handle it." "It's my job." "No." She smiled. "I don't think it is anymore." Elias didn't understand. Didn't have energy to figure it out. He just knew that for the first time in 5 years, he'd done what he was trained for. Saved a life. And this time, it had been enough. He stood, left the mop where it lay, walked out of the ballroom. Behind him, the party tried to restart, but nobody's heart was in it. They'd all seen how close death could come, even surrounded by the best medical technology money could buy. In the elevator down to the basement, Elias caught his reflection in polished doors. Blood on his coveralls. Sweat in his hair, hands still shaking. He looked like a soldier again. The elevator dinged. Doors opened to the basement level. Fluorescent lights. Concrete floors. His locker in the corner with a combination lock that stuck. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. The text had no words. Just a photo. Ethan Hale's grave. Fresh flowers on it. White lilies. And a handwritten note propped against the headstone. The message was only 2 words. "We talk." Elias stared at the photo. His hands stopped shaking. Something cold settled in his chest. Marcus Hale had just declared war. And this time, Elias wasn't running. Elias didn't sleep that night. He sat in his studio apartment, still in his blood-stained coveralls, staring at the photo on his phone. Ethan Hale's grave. Fresh flowers. 2 words that felt like a knife to the throat. We talk. The apartment was small. 1 room, kitchenette in the corner. Bathroom the size of a closet. Rent was $800 a month, and he was usually 2 weeks late. The silver star sat in the top drawer of a battered dresser buried under unpaid bills and takeout menus he never used. He'd moved here 5 years ago after the military review board cleared him, and Marcus Hale destroyed him anyway. Started over. Started small. Started invisible. His phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. This time, it was a news alert. Breaking Haven Biotech CEO collapses during product launch. Janitor saves her life. Below it a video. 42 million views already. Him doing chest compressions while Amelia screamed. The camera had caught everything. His face, his hands. The moment Clara's eyes opened, comments were flooding in. Who is this man? That's a hero right there. Why is a trained medic working as a janitor? Someone find out his story. Elias turned off his phone, threw it on the couch, stood up, paced. His shoulders still ached from the compressions. His knees were raw. But what hurt most was the look on Marcus's face right before the ambulance left. Not anger, not hatred, something worse. Fear. Marcus was scared of what Elias might say now that cameras were watching. Scared the truth about Ethan might come out. Scared that the narrative Marcus had built for 5 years was about to collapse like Clara had on that stage. Good. Let him be scared. Elias walked to his dresser, opened the top drawer, pushed aside the bills, and found the silver star in its case. He hadn't looked at it in 3 years. The metal gleamed under the cheap apartment lighting, mocking him with its shine. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action against an enemy of the United States. He'd gotten it 2 months before Ethan died. For pulling 3 men out of a burning Humvee while taking fire. They lived. Ethan didn't. The universe had a sick sense of balance. Someone knocked on his door. Elias froze. It was 2 in the morning. Nobody knocked at 2 in the morning unless it was trouble or rent was overdue. He was current on rent. The knock came again. Harder. More. I know you're awake. Open up. Marcus. Elias closed the drawer. Walked to the door. Thought about not opening it. Thought about a lot of things. Then he turned the deadbolt and pulled it open. Marcus Hale stood in the hallway in jeans and a wrinkled button-down. No tie, no suit. He looked 10 years older than he had at the party. His eyes were red. He'd been crying. They stared at each other. You going to let me in, or are we doing this in the hallway? Marcus said. Elias stepped aside. Marcus walked in, looked around the tiny apartment, said nothing about the peeling paint or the thrift store furniture, or the fact that a decorated war veteran was living in a place most people would use for storage. Want to sit? Elias said. No. Marcus turned to face him. I want to know what you're planning to do. About what? Don't play stupid. The video's everywhere. People are asking questions. About you. About why you're mopping floors. About what happened in Afghanistan. And you're worried I'll tell them. Yes. Marcus's jaw clenched. I'm worried you'll tell them it was my fault Ethan died. It wasn't your fault. That's not what you said 5 years ago. Elias leaned against the kitchen counter. 5 years ago I was angry and looking for someone to blame. Your brother died because an IED blew up under our convoy and his wounds were catastrophic. I worked on him for 11 minutes. Did everything right. He died anyway. That's war. That's not you. Marcus's hands shook. He shoved them in his pockets. Then why did you blame me? Because you were there when they brought his body home, and you looked at me like I'd pulled the trigger myself. You were supposed to save him. I tried. You were the best medic in the unit. Everyone said so. If anyone could have saved him, it was you. I'm not God, Marcus. I can't undo a severed femoral artery and collapsed lungs and internal bleeding in 6 places. Your brother died before the medevac even got the call. Marcus's face crumpled. He turned away, hand over his mouth, shoulders shaking. When he spoke again, his voice was thick. I needed someone to blame. If it wasn't your fault, then it was just random. Just bad luck. Just him being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that was worse somehow. That was unbearable. So you destroyed my career? Yes. Got me blacklisted from every hospital in 3 states? Yes. Made sure I'd never practice medicine again? Yes. Marcus turned back around. His eyes were wet. And I'm not sorry. I needed you to hurt like I was hurting. I needed you to lose something like I lost him. Elias nodded slowly. Well, you succeeded. They stood there in the ugly silence of old wounds ripped open. Why did you save her? Marcus said finally. Clara, you could have let someone else do it. Could have stayed invisible. Why risk it? Because there was a little girl screaming for her mother, and I was the only person in that room who knew what to do. Even knowing I was there, even knowing what I'd do. Even knowing. Marcus laughed. It was a broken sound. You're a better man than me. I'm just a man who knows CPR. No. Marcus shook his head. You're the guy who runs into the fire while everyone else runs out. You've always been that guy. That's why Ethan looked up to you. That's why it destroyed me when he died on your watch. Marcus. I have his last letter. Marcus pulled a folded paper from his pocket. He wrote it 2 days before the convoy, never mailed it. I found it in his stuff when they sent his things home. He held it out. Elias didn't take it. Read it, Marcus said. I don't need to. Read it. Elias took the letter, unfolded it. The paper was worn soft from being read too many times. Ethan's handwriting was messy, slanted the words of a kid barely out of high school. Dear Marcus, if you're reading this, it means I didn't make it home. Don't be sad. I died doing something that mattered with people who mattered, especially Doc Moore. He's the best medic I've ever seen. Last week he saved 3 guys from a burning truck while bullets were flying. Didn't even hesitate, just ran in. If something happens to me, I know he'll do everything he can. If I don't make it, it won't be because he didn't try. It'll be because my number came up. That's war. Tell Mom and Dad I love them. Tell them I wasn't scared. Tell Doc Moore thank you for everything. Love, Ethan. Elias's hands shook. He folded the letter carefully and handed it back. I've read that 1,000 times, Marcus said. Took me 5 years to hear what he was actually saying. He didn't blame you. He knew the risks. He trusted you completely. The only person who blamed you was me. Why are you telling me this now? Because you saved Clara's life tonight, and tomorrow morning, she's going to call you into her office and offer you something. A real job. A second chance. And I came here to tell you that when she does, I won't stand in your way. Elias stared at him. What? I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to whisper in ears or make calls or bury you under paperwork. I'm done with that. I'm done punishing you for something that wasn't your fault. Marcus's voice broke. I'm done punishing myself. Marcus, I was wrong about you, about what happened, about everything, and I can't take back the last 5 years, but I can stop making it worse. He walked to the door, stopped with his hand on the knob. My brother was right about you. You're the guy who runs into the fire, and I'm sorry I tried to make you ashamed of that. Then he was gone. Elias stood alone in his apartment at 2:30 in the morning with aching shoulders and a head full of ghosts that were starting to look less like monsters and more like memories. He went to bed but didn't sleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling until dawn came gray and cold through his single window. At 8 o'clock his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Hello? Mr. Moore. A woman's voice. Professional. Crisp. This is Sandra Chen, executive assistant to Clara Vance. Ms. Vance would like to see you in her office at 10 o'clock this morning. Can you make it? She just had a heart attack last night. She should be in the hospital. She checked herself out 3 hours ago against medical advice. Can you make it? Yes. Excellent. Top floor. She's expecting you. The line went dead. Elias looked at his closet. He owned 2 pairs of jeans, 3 t-shirts, his work coveralls, and 1 suit he'd bought for his father's funeral 8 years ago. It probably didn't fit anymore. He showered, shaved, put on the suit. It was tight in the shoulders, but not terrible. He looked in the mirror and barely recognized himself. He looked like Captain Moore again. He looked like someone who mattered. At 9:30, he took the bus to Haven Biotech. The glass tower gleamed in morning sun. A protest had formed out front. Maybe 30 people with signs. Corporate greed kills. Where's your heart haven? Medical care, not medical profit. Elias walked past them into the lobby. It was different in daylight. Cleaner somehow. Less like a stage, and more like a place where actual work happened. A security guard stopped him at the front desk. "Can I help you?" "Elias Moore. I have an appointment with Ms. Vance." The guard checked his computer. His eyebrows went up. "The janitor. I mean Mr. Moore." "Yes. Top floor. Take the executive elevator on the right." Elias rode the elevator alone. It was glass on 3 sides, showing him the city dropping away as he rose. He'd mopped these elevator floors 100 times. Never rode in one. The doors opened on the top floor. A woman in a sharp gray suit stood waiting. Sandra Chen, probably. She smiled. "Mr. Moore, right this way." She led him through an open office space where people stopped typing to stare. Everyone had seen the video. Everyone knew who he was now. Their faces showed everything from curiosity to gratitude to that uncomfortable look people get when they realize they'd been ignoring someone important. Sandra stopped at a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows. "She's ready for you." She knocked once and opened the door. Clara Vance sat behind a desk the size of a small car. She looked pale, but alive. Very alive. A bandage covered the cut on her forehead. She wore a white blouse and somehow made almost dying yesterday look elegant. Amelia sat in a chair beside the desk coloring. When she saw Elias, she jumped up and ran to him. "You came. Mommy said you would come." Elias knelt down. "Hey there, sweetheart. How are you feeling?" "I'm okay. Mommy's okay too. The doctors said you saved her." "The doctors are the ones who saved her. I just helped." "Liar." Clara's voice was warm. "Amelia, honey, can you go color with Sandra for a few minutes? I need to talk to Mr. Moore." "Okay. Bye, Mr. Moore." Amelia hugged him around the neck. Tight. Desperate. The hug of a child who'd almost lost everything. Then Sandra let her out and closed the door. Clara gestured to a chair. "Please, sit." Elias sat. The chair was leather, expensive. Comfortable in a way that made him uncomfortable. "You should be in the hospital," he said. "I should be a lot of things. Careful, responsible, not genetically predisposed to congenital heart defects." She smiled. It was the saddest smile he'd ever seen. "But here we are." "You collapsed because of a heart condition. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, inherited from my father, killed him at 43. I'm 34 and apparently on the same timeline." She touched the bandage on her forehead. "I've known for 3 years, been managing it. Yesterday it decided management wasn't enough. You need surgery. I need a transplant. I'm on the list, the waiting list. Could be months, could be years, could be never." She leaned forward. "But that's not why I asked you here. I asked you here because you saved my life and I want to know who you are." "You know who I am. Elias Moore, janitor." "Janitor." She pulled out a tablet, started reading. Elias James Moore, age 52. Enlisted in the Army at 19. Became a combat medic. Served 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Decorated, 2 Bronze Stars, 1 Silver Star. Honorably discharged 5 years ago. Medical degree from a program for military personnel. Licensed and then suddenly not licensed. Worked 6 months at Portland General, then nothing. 5 years of nothing, until you showed up on my janitorial staff 8 months ago. She set down the tablet. "So I'll ask again. Who are you, and what the hell happened?" Elias was quiet for a long moment. Outside the window, the city sprawled like a circuit board. Somewhere down there was his apartment, his dresser drawer, his silver star that didn't feel like an accomplishment anymore. "I lost someone," he said finally. "Someone I was supposed to save. And after that, I couldn't do the job anymore." "The job of saving people?" "Yes. Yet yesterday you saved me. Yesterday was different." "How?" "Yesterday I didn't have a choice." Clara studied him. Her eyes were sharp, missing nothing. "The person you lost, was it Marcus Hale's brother?" Elias's head snapped up. "You know about that. I know Marcus has hated you for 5 years, and I've never understood why. Last night while I was in the ER, he came to see me. Told me everything. About Ethan, about what he did to your career, about how wrong he was. He came to my apartment too." "Did he apologize?" "Something like that." Clara nodded. "He's stepping down as VP of Operations, effective immediately. Says he needs time to deal with some personal things. I think he means guilt." "He doesn't need to step down." "I think he does. And I think you need to step up." She opened her desk drawer, pulled out a folder, slid it across to him. "This is an offer. Director of Life Safety. You'll oversee emergency preparedness for all Haven Biotech facilities. Train staff in first aid and CPR. Audit our emergency systems. Make sure what happened yesterday never happens again because people are prepared." Elias opened the folder, saw the salary. It was more than he'd made in the Army, more than he'd made as a janitor in a year, maybe 2 years. "I'm not qualified for this. You're the most qualified person I know. You're a decorated combat medic who saved my life with nothing but training and will. That's exactly who I need." "Clara." "Ms. Vance," she corrected gently. "In this office, it's Ms. Vance. Outside, if we're friends, you can call me Clara. But here, let's keep it professional. Ms. Vance, I appreciate this. I do. But I haven't practiced medicine in 5 years. I've been mopping floors. I'm not that person anymore." "Yes, you are. You proved it yesterday. That instinct, that training, that courage. It doesn't go away just because you're holding a mop instead of a scalpel." She stood up, walked to the window. "My father built this company on the idea that everyone deserves a chance to live, to be saved. And last night, I learned that devices don't save people. People save people. I want you to teach my employees to be the kind of people who save lives. And if I say no, then you go back to mopping floors, and I hire someone else who won't care as much, and won't be as good, and more people will die who didn't have to." She turned to face him. "But you won't say no. You can't. Because you're the guy who runs into the fire. It's who you are." Elias looked at the folder in his hands, looked at the salary, the job description, the second chance wrapped in corporate letterhead. "When do I start?" Clara smiled, a real smile this time. "Monday. Take the weekend. Get some rest. You've earned it." Elias stood, held out his hand. Clara shook it. Her grip was firm, despite everything she'd been through. "Thank you, Ms. Vance. Thank you, Mr. Moore, for giving me more time with my daughter." He left the office. Sandra gave him paperwork to fill out. HR information, tax forms, the administrative debris of starting over. He filled it all out in a conference room, while outside the office hummed with the sound of people working, living, mattering. When he finished, he took the elevator back down. The protesters were still outside, but fewer of them now. He pushed through the doors into afternoon sun and pulled out his phone. One new message. Marcus Hale. "I meant what I said last night. You deserve this. Make the most of it." Elias typed back. "Thank you. For everything." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Ethan would be proud. Elias closed his eyes, let the sun warm his face. Felt something he hadn't felt in 5 years. Not forgiveness. Not quite. Not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. He walked to the bus stop, waited. A woman beside him was watching something on her phone. He caught a glimpse of the screen. The video, him doing CPR. 47 million views now. The woman looked up, saw him. Her eyes went wide. Oh my God, you're him, the janitor, the hero. I'm not a hero, just someone who knew what to do. Can I shake your hand? He let her. She pulled out her phone. Can I take a picture? I'd rather you didn't. Please. My mom had a heart attack last year, didn't make it. Watching you save that woman, it helped somehow. Made it feel less hopeless. Elias looked at her. Really looked. She was maybe 30, wedding ring, tired eyes, carrying the weight of loss that never really goes away. Okay, he said. One picture. She took the selfie, thanked him 3 times, got on her bus when it came. Elias waited for his. His phone buzzed. News alert. Haven Biotech hires hero janitor as director of life safety. That was fast. Clara must have announced it already. The PR department probably loved the story. Viral janitor becomes executive. Feel-good narrative. Stock prices would probably go up. But standing there in the sun, waiting for his bus, Elias didn't care about stock prices or PR or viral videos. He cared that for the first time in 5 years, he was going to do what he was meant to do. Save lives. His bus came. He got on, rode it back to his apartment, climbed the stairs, unlocked his door. The silver star was still in the drawer. He took it out, held it up to the light. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity. Maybe he'd earned it after all. Not for the Humvee in Kandahar, but for yesterday. For running toward Clara when everyone else froze. For doing what needed to be done despite the cost. He put the medal on his dresser, out where he could see it, where it could remind him who he used to be, who he was becoming again. Outside his window, the city hummed with life. Somewhere in it, Amelia Vance was coloring. Marcus Hale was dealing with his demons. Clara was probably working too hard too soon. And Elias Moore, former captain, former janitor, current director of life safety, stood in his small apartment and felt something that had been dead for 5 years flicker back to life. Hope. He had work to do, lives to save, a second chance to make count. Monday couldn't come fast enough. Monday morning came with rain. Elias stood outside Haven Biotech at 7:30, wearing the same funeral suit now properly tailored. He'd spent Sunday at a men's warehouse buying 3 more suits, dress shirts, ties he had no idea how to match. The saleswoman had helped him. She'd recognized him from the video. Everyone recognized him now. The lobby was different when you walked in through the front doors instead of the service entrance. Brighter. Bigger. Like entering a different world. Mr. Moore. The receptionist waved him over. Young woman. Bright smile. Name tag said Jessica. Welcome, your office is on the 7th floor. Ms. Chen asked me to take you up. I have an office. You're a director now. Directors get offices. She led him to the executive elevator. Hit the button for 7. Everyone's talking about you, you know, about what you did. My roommate watched the video like 20 times. She cried every time. The elevator rose. Elias's stomach stayed on the ground floor. It's just CPR. Anyone can learn it. That's what makes it so amazing. You didn't have some fancy machine, just your hands and your training. You made people realize they could be heroes too. The doors opened. Sandra Chen waited in the hallway wearing another sharp suit. This one was navy blue. Mr. Moore, right on time. Let me show you around. She walked fast. Elias followed. The 7th floor was open concept, glass-walled offices around the perimeter, cubicles in the middle, a break room with an espresso machine that probably cost more than his rent. Your office. Sandra opened a door. It wasn't huge, but it had a window, a real desk, a computer, bookshelves that were empty, a nameplate that read, Elias Moore, Director of Life Safety. Ms. Vance wants to see you at 9 for your first briefing. Until then, get settled. It will be by to set up your computer. HR needs you to sign more paperwork. And this arrived for you this morning. She handed him a card. Heavy stock. Expensive. He opened it. Welcome to the team. Let's save some lives. Clara. Inside was a photo. Clara and Amelia, both smiling. At the bottom, in a child's handwriting, "Thank you for saving my mommy. Love, Amelia." Elias set it on his desk, stared at it for a long moment. Then he sat in his chair. His office chair. At his desk. In his office. He'd gone from mopping this building to having his name on a door in 72 hours. A knock. A young man with thick glasses poked his head in. "Mr. Moore, I'm Tyler from IT. Here to set up your systems." "Come in." Tyler worked fast, set up the computer, logged him into the network, showed him how to access email scheduling the company intranet, talked the whole time. "This is so cool. You being here, I mean, after what you did. My dad's a paramedic. He said what you did was textbook perfect. Said most people panic, but you didn't. You just knew what to do. Training helps." That's what he said. He made me and my sister take a CPR class last year. We complained the whole time. After seeing your video, I'm glad he made us go. Tyler finished with the computer. "All set. If you need anything, extension 4782. Thanks, Tyler." After he left, Elias sat in the quiet office and tried to figure out what he was supposed to do. He'd been a medic, been a janitor, never been a director of anything. His email pinged. New message from Clara. Subject line, "First assignment." He opened it. "Elias, attached is our current emergency response protocol. It's a disaster. People don't know where the AEDs are. Half the staff hasn't had CPR training since onboarding. We have fire drills, but no medical emergency drills. I want you to tear it apart and rebuild it from scratch. You have full authority and full budget. Make Haven Biotech the safest building in the city. We launch the new protocol in 3 weeks at the annual gala. No pressure. Clara." 3 weeks. To overhaul emergency response for a building with 3,000 employees across 20 floors. No pressure. Elias opened the attached document, started reading. Clara was right. It was a disaster. The AED locations hadn't been updated in 5 years. CPR certification was listed as recommended, not required. The emergency contact list had people who no longer worked there. He grabbed a notebook, started making lists. What needed to be done? Who needed training? What equipment was missing? His military training kicked in. Mission planning, resource allocation, timeline management. By 8:30, he had 10 pages of notes and a headache. Another knock. This time, it was a woman in her 40s. Red hair, confident stride. She didn't wait for permission before walking in. "Elias Moore, I'm Patricia Hendricks, VP of Human Resources. We need to talk." "Ms. Hendricks, please sit." She sat, crossed her legs, got right to business. "I'm going to be blunt. Your hiring has created some problems." "What kind of problems?" "The political kind. You went from janitor to director in 1 weekend. There are people who've been here 15 years who don't have director titles. People are asking questions. Why you? Why so fast? What qualifies you beyond one act of heroism?" Those are fair questions. They are. And I need you to help me answer them. The optics are tricky. We can't have people thinking this was just good PR. That Clara hired you for the story and not the skills. What do you need from me? Prove you deserve this job, fast. Clara's giving you 3 weeks to overhaul emergency response. Nail it. Make it so good that nobody can question why you're here. She stood up. "I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm trying to help. Clara stuck her neck out for you. Don't make her regret it." After she left, Elias sat back in his chair. The pressure just tripled. It wasn't enough to do a good job. He had to do an exceptional job. Had to prove he wasn't just the feel-good hire. His phone buzzed. Text from a number he didn't recognize. "Hey, it's Marcus. Heard you started today. Good luck. If you need anything, call me. I mean it." Elias stared at the message. 5 years of hatred ending with, "If you need anything." Life was strange. He texted back. "Thanks. Appreciate it." At 9 o'clock, he went to Clara's office. She was on the phone when he arrived, gestured for him to sit. He caught bits of the conversation. "No, I'm not stepping down. Yes, I'm aware of the board's concerns. Tell them I'm aware and I don't care. This company runs fine with me at the helm. It'll run even better now that we're taking safety seriously." She hung up, looked at Elias. "The board thinks I should step down temporarily while I wait for a transplant. Focus on my health. Let someone else run things." "What do you think?" "I think they're terrified of the liability. If I die at work, the lawsuits would be spectacular." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Can't really blame them. I did collapse on live television." "You should listen to your doctors." "My doctors say I could have 6 months or 6 years. They don't know. The waiting list for a transplant is long and my blood type is rare. I could be waiting a while." She pulled up something on her computer. "But enough about my failing heart. Let's talk about saving others. Did you read the protocol?" "Yes, it needs a complete overhaul." "That's what I wanted to hear. What's your plan?" Elias pulled out his notebook. "First, we audit every floor, locate all AEDs, make sure they're functional and accessible. Put them in clear cases with alarms so people can't miss them. Second, mandatory CPR training for everyone, not just watching a video. Actual hands-on training with mannequins. Third, we create an emergency response team, 10 to 15 employees per floor who get advanced training. They'll be first responders until paramedics arrive." Clara leaned forward. "I like it. What else?" "Medical emergency drills. Once a quarter. Different scenarios. Cardiac arrest. Choking. Severe allergic reaction. We make it routine so if it happens for real people, don't freeze." "Cost?" "I haven't run the numbers yet, but it won't be cheap. Training equipment, man-hours. We're talking significant investment." "Do it, whatever it costs. After what happened, I'm not cutting corners on safety." She pulled up her calendar. 3 weeks from Friday is our annual gala. 500 guests. Press coverage. I want to announce the new program there. Can you have something ready to present?" "Yes." "Good. I'm putting you in charge of the whole thing. Safety protocols, training schedule, equipment. All of it. You report directly to me. Anyone gives you trouble, you come to me." "Understood." "One more thing." Clara's expression softened. "Amelia wants to know if you'll come to dinner. At our house, Friday night. She's been asking about you constantly. Wants to show you her drawings." "Ms. Vance, I don't think that's appropriate." "Why not? I work for you now. Lines should stay clear." "Elias, you saved my life. You gave my daughter her mother back. That transcends normal workplace boundaries. Please, come to dinner. Let her thank you properly. Let me thank you properly." He wanted to say no, wanted to keep things professional, but he remembered Amelia's face, her tears, her desperate hug in Clara's office. "What time?" 7. I'll text you the address." Clara stood, extended her hand. "Welcome aboard, Director Moore. Let's change how this company thinks about safety." He shook her hand, left her office, spent the rest of the day drowning in work. Met with facilities management about AED placement. Called training companies about CPR certification programs. Started drafting emergency response protocols. At 6 o'clock, his phone rang. Unknown number. Again. He was getting tired of unknown numbers. "Hello. Mr. Moore, this is David Chen from Channel 7 News. We'd love to interview you about what happened at Haven Biotech. Get your story. You've become something of a local hero." "I'm not interested." It would just be 10 minutes. We could film at your office. Really showcase the work you're doing now. No, thank you. Mr. Moore, people want to hear from you. The video has 60 million views. You're trending on social media. This is your chance to tell your story your way. I don't have a story. I did CPR, that's it. But your background, your military service, going from decorated veteran to janitor to executive, that's a story people need to hear. Goodbye, Mr. Chen. Elias hung up. His phone immediately rang again. Different number. Hello. Mr. Moore, this is Rebecca Santos from Good Morning America. We'd love to have you on the show. He turned off his phone. By 7 o'clock he was exhausted. He grabbed his jacket, left his office, took the elevator down. The lobby was mostly empty, a few people working late. He pushed through the front doors into cool evening air. Someone was waiting by his bus stop. Marcus Hale, hands in his pockets, looking uncomfortable. Hey, Marcus said. Hey. They stood there in awkward silence. I don't know how to do this, Marcus said finally. This whole being civil thing, 5 years of hating you, and now I don't know what we are. We don't have to be anything. But I want to be. Something. Not friends maybe, not yet, but not enemies either. Marcus kicked at the sidewalk. I was wondering if you wanted to grab a beer, talk, clear the air properly. Elias thought about saying no, about keeping distance, about all the reasons this was a bad idea. There's a bar 2 blocks from here, he said. McSorley's. I know it. See you there in 5. Yeah, 5. Marcus walked away. Elias watched him go. Then he started walking toward McSorley's. It was a dive bar. Dark wood, dim lighting. The kind of place that didn't care who you were or what you'd done. Marcus was already there when Elias arrived. Had claimed a corner booth. 2 beers on the table. Wasn't sure what you drank. Got us both IPAs. IPAs are fine. They sat. Drank. Didn't talk for a full minute. This is weird, Marcus said. Very weird. I keep expecting to be angry, but I'm not. I'm just tired. That's grief, Elias said. It exhausts you, even 5 years later. Is that what this is? Still grief. Grief doesn't have an expiration date. You just learn to carry it differently. Marcus nodded, drank. I looked up your service record. After that night at your apartment. Read the citations for your medals. You saved a lot of people, Elias. A lot of people are alive because of you. And one person isn't. Ethan knew the risks. He joined the army with his eyes open. He didn't blame you. I was the only one who did. You needed someone to blame. I needed my brother back. Since I couldn't have that, I needed someone to hurt. Marcus's voice cracked. I'm sorry. For all of it. For destroying your career. For making you feel like Ethan's death was your fault. For wasting 5 years of both our lives on hate. I understand why you did it. Understanding doesn't make it right. No. But it makes it human. They drank in silence. Around them, the bar hummed with conversation. Sports on TV. Someone playing pool in the back. Clara told me about dinner Friday, Marcus said. At her house. You're invited too. No, she mentioned it in passing. Said Amelia insisted you come. He smiled. It was sad. That kid adores you. Keeps telling everyone at the office about the man who saved her mommy. She's a good kid. She is. Reminds me of Ethan when he was young. Fearless. Full of joy. Before the world got complicated. Marcus finished his beer, signaled for another. Can I ask you something? Sure. When you were doing CPR on Clara, when it wasn't working and everyone was watching and you had to keep going, what were you thinking? Elias considered the question. I was thinking about your brother, about how I couldn't save him, about how this was my chance to get it right. Did you get it right? Clara's alive, so yes, this time I got it right. Marcus nodded. That's good. That you got to save someone after losing Ethan. That's really good. They stayed at the bar until 9. Talked about everything and nothing. The job, the company. What Marcus planned to do with his time off. He was thinking about therapy, about finally dealing with his brother's death properly, instead of using hate as a shield. When they left, Marcus held out his hand. Thanks for the beer, for listening, for not telling me to go to hell. Elias shook it. Thanks for the apology, for the letter, for letting me move forward. You deserve it. You deserved it 5 years ago. I'm just sorry it took me this long to see it. They went separate ways. Elias caught his bus home, sat by the window, watched the city slide by, thought about how much had changed in less than a week, how one moment of action had started a cascade of changes he never saw coming. His apartment felt smaller when he got home. The suit felt strange. He changed into jeans and a t-shirt, made a sandwich, sat on his couch. His phone had 17 missed calls, 6 voicemails, 23 emails, all from reporters, news stations, podcasters. Everyone wanted his story, wanted to know about the hero janitor who saved the CEO. He deleted them all. Friday came faster than Elias expected. The week had been chaos. Meetings with every department, walking all 20 floors to inspect emergency equipment, interviewing CPR instructors, drafting protocols, ordering AEDs. His head spun with logistics. Clara's address led him to a neighborhood he'd never been able to afford to visit. Big houses with big yards, trees lining the streets. Her house was brick, 3 stories, windows that glowed warm against the evening dark. He rang the doorbell at 7 exactly. Amelia opened the door. She wore a purple dress and her hair was in pigtails. Mr. Moore, you came, Mommy. He's here. She grabbed his hand and pulled him inside. The house smelled like garlic and tomatoes. Music played somewhere. Jazz, something with piano. Clara appeared from what must have been the kitchen. She wore jeans and a sweater. Casual, more relaxed than he'd ever seen her. Elias. Welcome. Come in. I hope you're hungry. Starving, actually. Good. I made too much food. Amelia, show Mr. Moore your drawings while I finish dinner. Amelia dragged him to the living room, showed him picture after picture, rainbows, horses, a castle, and one that made his throat tight, a stick figure man with brown hair doing chest compressions on a stick figure woman, a little girl watching, stars in the sky. That's you saving Mommy, Amelia said. I drew it so I wouldn't forget. It's beautiful, sweetheart. Do you have kids, Mr. Moore? No, I don't. Why not? Amelia. Clara called from the kitchen. That's a personal question. It's okay, Elias said. I never found the right person to have kids with, and then I got busy with other things. You should have kids. You'd be a good daddy. You saved my mommy. Good daddies save people. Clara appeared in the doorway. Dinner's ready. Amelia, go wash your hands. Amelia ran off. Clara looked at Elias. Sorry, 7-year-olds have no filter. She's fine. She's perfect. They ate at a dining room table that could seat 12. Just the 3 of them at one end. Clara had made lasagna, garlic bread, salad. It was the best meal Elias had eaten in months, maybe years. Amelia talked non-stop about school, her friends, her teacher who was mean, a boy who pulled her hair. Normal kid things, things that felt extraordinary just because they were normal. After dinner, Clara sent Amelia upstairs to get ready for bed. Then she and Elias sat in the living room with coffee. Thank you for coming, Clara said. This means a lot to her, to both of us. Thank you for inviting me. How's your first week going? Overwhelming, but good. I think I can have something solid ready by the gala. I have no doubt. Clara sipped her coffee. The board is still on me about stepping down. They think I'm a liability. A ticking time bomb. What do you think? I think I have work to do and a daughter to raise, and I'm not wasting whatever time I have left sitting at home waiting to die. That's a good answer. Is it, or is it denial? She set down her coffee. I'm scared, Elias. Terrified. Every time my heart skips a beat, I wonder if this is it. If this is the one I don't wake up from. That's normal, after a cardiac event. Is it because it doesn't feel normal? It feels like I'm walking on a tightrope and any second I could fall. Her hands shook. She clasped them together. I'm trying to be strong for Amelia, trying to show her everything's fine, but I don't know if everything is fine. It's okay to be scared. I'm the CEO of a medical company. I'm supposed to have it together. You're human. Humans get scared. That's okay. Clara's eyes filled with tears. She wiped them away quickly. Sorry, I don't usually fall apart like this. You're not falling apart. You're processing trauma. That's healthy. Mommy? Amelia appeared at the top of the stairs in her pajamas. Will you read me a story? Of course, baby. Be right up. Clara stood. Stay as long as you like. Help yourself to more coffee. She went upstairs. Elias heard voices, laughter, the sound of a mother and daughter at bedtime. He sat in the living room of this beautiful house and felt the weight of everything that had happened pressed down on him. Clara came back down 20 minutes later. She's asleep. Finally. She was wired from having you here. She's a great kid. She is. Best thing I ever did. Clara sat back down. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Why did you really become a janitor? I know what Marcus did. No, he blacklisted you, but you could have gone somewhere else. Another state. Started over completely. Why stay here? Why take a job mopping floors? Elias was quiet for a long time. Because I didn't think I deserved better. After Ethan died, I felt like I'd lost the right to save people. Like the universe was telling me I wasn't good enough. So I found the smallest, quietest job I could, became invisible, convinced myself that was what I deserved. And now I'm not sure what I deserve. But I know I want to try again. Want to see if I can do this job without losing someone. You will. I have complete faith in you. I hope you're right. He left an hour later. Drove home through quiet streets. Thought about Amelia's drawing, about Clara's fear, about second chances, and whether he could actually pull this off. His phone buzzed as he pulled into his apartment complex. Text from Clara. Thank you for tonight, for letting Amelia see you as a real person and not just the man who saved me, for letting me be scared without judgment. You're going to be great at this job. I know it. Elias texted back. Thank you for believing in me. Get some rest. You need it. He went inside, set his keys on the counter, looked at the silver star on his dresser. 3 weeks until the gala. 3 weeks to prove he deserved this job. 3 weeks to build something that could save lives. No pressure. He got to work. The next 2 weeks were a blur of 18-hour days and too much coffee. Elias turned his office into a war room. Wall charts tracking AED installations, training schedules color-coded by floor, emergency response team rosters. He lived on protein bars and whatever Sandra brought him when she noticed he'd forgotten to eat. You're going to burn out, she said on day 12, setting down a sandwich he didn't remember asking for. I'm fine. You're not. Clara's worried. She says you're here when she arrives at 6 and still here when she leaves at 8. There's a lot to do. There's always a lot to do. Pace yourself. The gala is a starting point, not a finish line. But Elias couldn't pace himself. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Clara collapsing, saw Amelia screaming, saw all the ways things could go wrong and people could die because he hadn't prepared them. The CPR training started on day 15. Elias had hired 3 instructors. Set up the company gym with 20 training mannequins, scheduled mandatory sessions for every employee, 4 hours of hands-on training, No exceptions. The first group came in skeptical. 30 employees from accounting who clearly had better things to do. They slouched in their chairs, checked their phones. One guy actually fell asleep. "Good morning," Elias said. "I'm Elias Moore. For the next 4 hours, I'm going to teach you how to save a life." 4 hours. A woman in the back groaned. "For CPR, can't we just watch a video?" "You can watch 1,000 videos. Won't matter if you freeze when it counts." Elias walked to the front mannequin. 3 weeks ago, your CEO collapsed on stage. 500 people watched. You know how many tried to help? Silence. 2. Both doing it wrong. Everyone else just stood there with their phones out. He looked at each face. Next time, it might not be the CEO, might be your coworker, your friend, someone's daughter. And when that happens, I want you to be the person who moves, not the person who films. The room shifted. Phones went away. People sat up. "Now, everyone find a mannequin. Let's get started." By hour 3, they were exhausted. Chest compressions were brutal, arms shaking, sweat pouring, but they kept going. And when the session ended, they didn't leave immediately. They stayed, asked questions, wanted to practice more. The guy who'd fallen asleep came up to Elias afterward. "My dad died of a heart attack when I was 16. I didn't know what to do. Just watched him die on the kitchen floor. If I'd known CPR..." "You know now," Elias said. "That matters." "Yeah, it does. Thank you. For making this mandatory. For teaching us." Word spread. The next groups came in ready, eager even. Elias ran 8 sessions a day. Early morning, lunch breaks, after work. The company gym became a revolving door of people learning to save lives. On day 18, Clara showed up to a training session unannounced. Stood in the back watching. When it ended, she approached Elias. "I want to learn." "You should be resting." "I want to learn. If I'm going to ask my employees to do this, I should do it too." "Clara, you had a cardiac arrest 3 weeks ago. Chest compressions are physically demanding." "Then I'll watch. But I want to be here." She stayed for 3 sessions. Watched employees transform from nervous to confident. Watched them practice on mannequins until their arms gave out. Watched them become the people who would move instead of freeze. Afterward, she and Elias sat in his office. She looked exhausted but satisfied. "This is good. What you're building. It's exactly what I wanted." "Still have a lot to do before the gala." "You'll get it done. You always do." She paused. "The board is coming to the gala. They want to see what we're spending their money on." "Are they still pushing you to step down?" "Every day. They've asked me to name an interim CEO, just in case." "What did you say?" "I said I'm not planning on dying anytime soon." She smiled, but it was tired. "Though I did update my will, made arrangements for Amelia, named a guardian. All the things you do when you realize you're not invincible. That's smart. Responsible. It's terrifying. Writing down what happens to your daughter if you die, but necessary." She stood to leave, stopped at the door. "Amelia asks about you constantly, wants to know when you're coming back for dinner. Tell her soon, after the gala." "I will. Don't work too late." She left. Elias turned back to his computer. Still had to finalize the emergency response protocols. Review AED placement. Confirm the demonstration schedule for the gala. His phone rang. Not a number he recognized, but he'd learned to answer everything now. "Elias Moore." "Mr. Moore, this is Fire Marshal Davidson. I'm calling about the permit application for your gala. We need to discuss your emergency exits." Elias's stomach dropped. "What about them?" "Building code requires clear egress paths during events. Your floor plan shows tables blocking 2 emergency exits. That's a violation. I can't approve the permit until it's fixed." "I'll fix it. Send me the corrections and I'll make the changes today." "There's another issue. Your occupancy limit. You're planning for 500 guests, but the ballroom is only rated for 450. "I'll cut the guest list." And the fire suppression system needs inspection. Last one was 18 months ago, should be annual. Elias rubbed his eyes. What do I need to do to get this approved? Get me a revised floor plan by tomorrow noon. Schedule a fire system inspection. Reduce your guest count. Then I can sign off. Consider it done. After he hung up, Elias wanted to put his head through the wall. Instead, he called facilities management. Got the fire system inspection scheduled for the next morning. Then he opened the gala floor plan and started moving tables. It was midnight before he finished. His eyes burned, his back ached, but the floor plan worked. Clear exits, proper spacing, under occupancy limits. He emailed it to the fire marshal and went home. The inspection happened at 7 the next morning. Elias met the inspector in the lobby, followed him through every floor, watched him test alarms, check sprinklers, review emergency lighting. Everything looks good, the inspector said finally. I'll file my report today. You're clear for the gala. One problem solved. 50 more to go. The week of the gala, everything accelerated. Catering confirmed. AV team set up. Press credentials issued. Clara did 3 interviews about the new safety initiative. Each one mentioned Elias. Each one he refused to participate in. They want to talk to you, Clara said. The man who started it all. The program speaks for itself. It doesn't need me. You're being modest. I'm being smart. The story isn't about me. It's about what Haven Biotech is doing to protect people. Clara studied him. You really don't want the attention, do you? I just want to do the job. Most people in your position would milk this for everything it's worth. Speaking tours, book deals, the whole thing. I'm not most people. No, you're not. That's why I hired you. The day before the gala, Marcus showed up at Elias's office. He looked good, healthier. The dark circles under his eyes were gone. Hey, got a minute? Sure, come in. Marcus sat. I wanted to give you this before tomorrow. He handed Elias an envelope. Inside was a check. Made out to Elias. For $50,000. What is this? Back pay. For the 5 years you should have been working as a medic but couldn't because of me. It's not enough. Could never be enough. But it's something. Marcus, I can't take this. Yes, you can. I destroyed your career. Cost you years of income. This is the least I can do. I don't want your money. It's not about what you want. It's about what's right. Marcus's voice was firm. Cash it. Don't cash it. I don't care. But I needed to offer it. Needed to try to make amends financially since I can't undo the past. Elias looked at the check. $50,000. More money than he'd seen in years. Life-changing money. Thank you. This means a lot. You're welcome. Now, about tomorrow. I know I'm not officially invited, but I was wondering if I could come. See what you've built. See the program that came from Ethan's death meaning something. You're welcome anytime. I'll have Sandra add you to the list. Thanks. Marcus stood. Good luck tomorrow. You're going to do great. After he left, Elias sat holding the check. Thought about pride. About forgiveness. About whether taking this money meant he was letting Marcus off too easy. Then he thought about his student loans, his crappy apartment, the car that barely ran. And he folded the check and put it in his wallet. Forgiveness didn't mean martyrdom. The morning of the gala, Elias was at Haven Biotech at 5. Checked every AED one last time. Walked through the emergency exits. Reviewed the presentation. Briefed the response team on their demonstration. By noon, he was running on adrenaline and fear. Clara found him in the ballroom at 3. The space was transforming. White tablecloths, crystal centerpieces, a stage with professional lighting, banners reading, "Haven cares a new era of safety." It looks amazing, she said. Hope the board thinks so. They will, and if they don't, that's their problem. She was wearing a dress, blue, elegant. Her hair was done. She looked beautiful and fragile at the same time. How are you feeling? Terrified. Good. That means you care. She touched his arm. You've done incredible work. In 3 weeks, you've built something most companies take years to implement. Whatever happens tonight, be proud. I'll be proud when nobody dies at this party. That's a low bar. After last time, it's the right bar. At 6, the guests started arriving. Board members, investors, press, city officials, everyone who was anyone in healthcare and business. They mingled, drank champagne, admired the displays showing the new emergency equipment. Elias stayed backstage, too nervous to socialize. His emergency response team was scattered through the crowd. 10 people per floor, all wearing special badges, all ready. At 7, Clara took the stage. The room quieted. Good evening. Thank you all for being here. 3 weeks ago, I stood on this stage and collapsed. My heart stopped. And if not for one man's training and courage, I wouldn't be standing here tonight. Applause, cameras flashing. That experience changed me, changed this company, made me realize that technology alone doesn't save lives. People save lives. Trained, prepared, courageous people. She gestured to the screens behind her. Tonight I'm proud to announce Haven Cares, the most comprehensive workplace safety initiative in the country. The screens lit up with statistics, AED locations, training numbers, response times. Every employee has been trained in CPR and first aid. Every floor has an emergency response team. Every corner of this building is equipped to save lives. And the man who made this happen in just 3 weeks is here tonight. Elias Moore, would you please join me? Elias's heart stopped. She hadn't told him he'd have to speak, hadn't warned him. He walked on stage feeling like he might throw up. The applause was thunderous. People stood. He saw Marcus in the crowd, Chen, saw Sandra, saw employees he'd trained, all of them clapping. Clara handed him the microphone. He took it with shaking hands. Thank you. I'm not great at speeches. I'm better at doing than talking. Nervous laughter. 3 weeks ago I did my job, that's all. I saw someone who needed help and I helped. And what I've learned since then is that everyone in this room can do the same. You don't need to be a medic, don't need years of training. You just need to know the basics and have the courage to act. He pressed a button. A video played. Footage from the training sessions. Employees practicing CPR, learning to use AEDs, becoming confident. These people are heroes. Every single one. They took time from their schedules to learn how to save lives. And because of them, Haven Biotech is safer. Not because of technology, because of people. More applause. Clara was crying. She didn't hide it. So thank you for supporting this program, for believing that every life matters, for understanding that safety isn't a luxury, it's a right. And now I'd like to invite our emergency response team to demonstrate what they've learned. 10 employees came on stage. Elias walked them through a cardiac emergency scenario. One person collapsed. The team moved. Called 911. Started CPR. Got the AED. Worked together like a machine. Smooth. Professional. Perfect. When the collapsed person sat up, very much alive, the room erupted again. Clara took the microphone back. That's what preparedness looks like. That's what Haven Cares means. And I'm proud to announce that we're not stopping here. Starting next month, we're offering free CPR training to the community. Anyone who wants to learn, no cost. Because this isn't about our company. It's about saving lives wherever they need saving. The applause was deafening. Elias stepped off stage, tried to disappear into the crowd. Didn't work. People kept stopping him, thanking him, telling him stories about family members who died of heart attacks, about wishing they'd known CPR. A board member cornered him by the bar. Older man, expensive suit, calculating eyes. Impressive program, Mr. Moore. Expensive but impressive. Worth every penny. We'll see. Return on investment for something like this is hard to measure. The ROI is people not dying. That's pretty measurable. The man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. You're very passionate. But passion doesn't always translate to sustainable business practice. With respect, sir, if Haven Biotech can't afford to keep people safe, then Haven Biotech has bigger problems than ROI. The man's smile vanished. Careful, Moore. You're new here. Would hate to see you overstep. He walked away. Elias's hands clenched. He forced them to relax. Clara appeared at his elbow. Don't mind Harrison. He's been trying to cut the safety budget for years. This program makes him look bad. Did I just make an enemy? You made several. The board doesn't like being told they're wrong. But you are right, and I'll make sure they know it. The party continued. Dinner was served. Speeches were made. Awards were given. Elias tried to enjoy it, but he couldn't relax. Kept scanning the crowd, looking for problems, for emergencies. For the moment, everything would go wrong. At 9:30, the fire alarm went off. Not the test alarm. The real one. Loud, urgent, strobe lights flashing. For a split second, everyone froze. Then Elias moved. Everyone stay calm. Emergency response teams positions. Everyone else proceed to the nearest exit. Do not run. Do not push. His voice cut through the panic. The response teams sprang into action, each one taking a section of the crowd, guiding people toward exits, keeping order. Clara was beside him. Is this real? Don't know, but we treat it like it is. You need to evacuate. Not without Amelia. She's in the VIP room with my mother. I'll get them. You go. Now. He ran against the flow of people, through the ballroom, down a hallway. The VIP room was at the end. He burst through the door. Amelia stood by the window with her grandmother. Both looked scared. Mr. Moore, what's happening? Fire alarm. We need to leave. Come with me. He took Amelia's hand. The grandmother followed. They moved quickly, but not running. Down the hallway, back to the ballroom. But when they got there, something was wrong. The main exit was jammed. People were pushing, shouting. Someone had fallen, bodies piling up at the door. This way. Elias redirected them to the emergency exit, the one he'd specifically made sure was clear. He pushed through the crowd, got to the door, shoved it open. It moved 6 inches and stopped. Something was blocking it from the outside. Damn it! He looked around. The other exit was across the room, through the chaos. He could see smoke now, real smoke, coming from somewhere. This wasn't a drill. The building was actually on fire. Elias didn't hesitate. Everyone, listen to me. His voice cut through the screaming. The main exit is blocked. We're going through the kitchen. Response teams lead your groups. Move now. The training kicked in. His team started directing people. Firm voices, clear instructions, no panic. They moved like water finding a path. Elias kept hold of Amelia's hand. The grandmother stayed close. He pushed through smoke that was getting thicker by the second. His eyes burned. Amelia coughed against his leg. Cover your mouth, sweetheart. Stay low. They reached the kitchen, industrial stoves, steel counters, and a service exit that should lead to the loading dock. Elias shoved the door open. Fresh air rushed in. Go! Everyone out! Count off as you exit. People streamed past him. He counted heads, made sure everyone was moving, saw Clara helping an elderly board member, saw Marcus carrying someone's grandmother, saw his response teams doing exactly what he'd trained them to do. The last person cleared the kitchen. Elias did a final sweep, checked behind counters, under tables, made sure no one was hiding or trapped. Empty. He ran for the exit. Behind him something exploded. Not huge, but enough to blow out the kitchen windows. Glass rained down. Heat rolled over him like a wave. He dove through the door as flames engulfed the space he'd been standing in. Outside, people huddled in the parking lot. Fire trucks were arriving. Sirens screaming. Lights flashing red and blue against the night sky. Elias! Clara ran to him, grabbed his shoulders. Are you okay? You're bleeding. He touched his face. His hand came away red. Must have caught glass on the way out. "I'm fine. Where's Amelia?" "Here, I'm here." The little girl pushed through the crowd, threw her arms around him. "You saved us again." Response team saved us. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. A firefighter approached. "Sir, I need you to step back. We're securing the perimeter." "There might be people still inside. Second floor, third floor." "We'll do a sweep. How many people were at this event?" 450, maybe more." "We need a head count. Can you organize that?" Elias turned to his teams. They were scattered through the crowd, but still wearing their badges. "Response teams on me." They gathered. 10 faces. All accounted for. All safe. "We need a head count. Each of you take your floor group. Make sure everyone got out." They dispersed. Started calling names. Checking off lists on phones. The organization was beautiful. Even in chaos they functioned. 10 minutes later they reported back. All accounting staff accounted for. Marketing is complete. Legal is here. Operations, everyone's out. One by one, every group checked in. 450 people. All safe. All breathing. The fire chief walked over. "Mr. Moore?" "That's me." "Chief Patterson, my team says your emergency response was textbook perfect. Clean evacuation. No injuries except minor smoke inhalation. How did you manage that?" "Training. We drilled for this." "Well, your drilling saved lives tonight. That kitchen exit was the only clear path. If people had kept pushing at the main door, we'd have had a crush situation. Fatalities." He shook Elias's hand. "You did good." After he walked away, Elias felt his legs start to shake. Adrenaline crash. He sat down on the curb, put his head in his hands. Clara sat beside him. "You okay?" "No, yes, I don't know." He looked up at the building. Flames were visible on the second floor now. Smoke pouring from broken windows. What started it? "Don't know yet. Fire marshal will investigate." She was quiet for a moment. The exit that was blocked. The main one. That shouldn't have happened. "No, it shouldn't have. We inspected everything. You checked every exit personally." "I did." "So something changed between this afternoon and tonight." Elias met her eyes. "You think someone blocked it deliberately?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." Paramedics moved through the crowd, checking people, handing out oxygen masks. One approached Elias. "Sir, you're bleeding. Let me look at that." He let her clean the cut on his forehead. Butterfly bandages, no stitches needed. While she worked, Marcus appeared. "That was intense. You were incredible. Everyone was." "Your brother would have been proud," Elias said. "Of the teams, of how they handled it." Marcus's eyes got wet. "Yeah, he would have." He looked at the burning building. "All that work. The program you built. 3 weeks of effort. And now this. The program worked. That's what matters. Everyone got out because people knew what to do. Still, it's got to hurt. Watching it burn." It did hurt. But not the way Marcus thought. It hurt because Elias kept running through the night in his head, looking for what he'd missed, what he could have done differently. The blocked exit gnawed at him. Clara was on her phone, pacing. Her voice was sharp. "I want security footage from the ballroom, every camera, starting at 5 p.m. Send it to my email, now." She hung up. Came back to Elias. "Something's not right. That exit was clear. I checked it myself at 6:30. "When did the event start?" 7. Guests started arriving at 6:45. "So someone blocked it between 6:30 and 9:30 when the alarm went off." "But why? Who would do that?" Elias thought about the board member at the bar, about the comment about return on investment, about how this program made certain people look bad. "I might have an idea." 2 hours later, the fire was out. The building was a disaster. Water damage, smoke damage, structural concerns. It would be weeks before anyone could work there. The fire marshal approached Clara and Elias. "We found the point of origin. Second-floor storage room. Electrical fire. Started in the old wiring." "Electrical?" Clara frowned. "We just had the system inspected." "Inspections don't catch everything. Old buildings, old wiring. It happens." He consulted his notes. "There's something else. The main exit. It was blocked by a maintenance cart, heavy equipment. Someone would have had to move it there deliberately." "Do you have footage?" Elias asked. "That's a question for your security team. But yes, you should pull footage. Because if someone blocked that exit knowing there was a fire, that's not just negligence. That's attempted murder." After he left, Clara pulled up the security footage on her phone, scrolled through timestamps, stopped at 7:15. "There. Look." The screen showed the main exit, clear and accessible. Then at 7:43, a figure in maintenance coveralls wheeled a heavy cart in front of it. The person's face was hidden by a baseball cap. "Can you zoom in?" Elias asked. Clara tried. The resolution wasn't good enough, but there was something familiar about the person's build, the way they moved. "Send that to the police," Elias said. "Let them enhance it." "Already done." Clara's jaw was tight. "Someone tried to trap people in a burning building. At my gala. In my company." "We'll find out who." "Damn right we will." The crowd was starting to disperse. People going home. Shell-shocked, but alive. Amelia was asleep in her grandmother's car. Clara needed to get them home. "Go," Elias said. "Be with your daughter. We'll deal with this tomorrow. Come with us. You shouldn't be alone tonight." "I'm fine." "Elias, you just ran into a burning building and saved 400 people. You're not fine. None of us are." She touched his arm. "Please, come home with us. Let me return the favor of saving someone." He was too tired to argue, rode with them in silence. The grandmother drove. Clara sat in back with Amelia's head in her lap. Elias sat up front and watched the city pass by. At Clara's house, they carried Amelia inside without waking her. Put her to bed still in her dress. Clara's mother made tea. They sat at the kitchen table at 2 a.m. drinking chamomile and processing trauma. "I keep thinking about what would have happened if you hadn't trained people," Clara's mother said. Her name was Helen. "If they'd panicked, if they hadn't known what to do. People would have died," Elias said simply. "Crush injuries at the main door. Smoke inhalation. Burns. We got lucky." "That wasn't luck. That was preparation." Helen looked at him. "You gave my daughter a second chance at life. Tonight you gave my granddaughter her mother for however long we have her. There's no way to thank you for that." "You don't need to thank me. I was doing my job." "No. You went above and beyond your job. You always do. That's who you are." After Helen went to bed, Clara and Elias sat in the living room. The house was quiet except for the ticking of a grandfather clock. "I'm scared," Clara said finally. "Not of the fire, of what comes next. The investigation, the board, the media. This is going to be everywhere. CEO's gala ends in fire. Questions about safety, about whether Haven Biotech can be trusted." "The program worked. Focus on that." "But someone sabotaged it. Someone tried to hurt people. That's the story they'll tell." "Then we tell a different story. About 450 people who evacuated safely because they were prepared. About a company that takes safety seriously enough to train everyone. About emergency response teams who saved lives." Clara smiled. "You're good at this. The leadership thing. The seeing through the crisis thing." "I've had practice." "In the military?" "Yeah. War teaches you to stay calm when everything's falling apart. Because if you panic, people die." "Did you ever panic over there?" Elias was quiet for a long time. "Once. When Ethan was dying, I knew I was losing him and I couldn't stop it. I felt everything slipping away. All my training, all my skill, none of it was enough. He looked at his hands. I panicked. For about 10 seconds. Then I forced myself to keep working. Keep trying. Even though I knew it was over. That's not panic. That's hope. Hope in a hopeless situation is just another word for denial. No, it's another word for courage. Trying when you know it's not enough. That's the bravest thing there is. They sat in comfortable silence. Outside, dawn was starting to break. Gray light through the windows. "You should sleep," Clara said. "Guest room is upstairs, second door on the right." "I should go home." "You're exhausted. You're hurt. You smell like smoke. Sleep for a few hours. Shower. I'll make breakfast. Then we'll figure out what comes next." He was too tired to argue. Went upstairs. Found the guest room. It was nice, clean, a real bed with actual pillows. He lay down in his clothes and was asleep in seconds. 3 hours later, he woke to the smell of bacon. Went downstairs. Clara was in the kitchen cooking. Amelia sat at the counter eating cereal. "Mr. Moore, you stayed over?" "I did. Hope that's okay." "It's very okay. Mommy never lets anyone stay over except Grandma." Clara shot him an apologetic look. "Amelia, eat your cereal." "Can Mr. Moore stay over more?" "Please." "We'll see. Now eat." After breakfast, Clara drove him home. On the way, her phone rang constantly. Press, board members, employees. She ignored most of them. "The board wants an emergency meeting, this afternoon. They're going to push again for me to step down. Use the fire as evidence that I'm not capable of leading. You saved the company from a disaster. That's evidence of the opposite. They'll spin it differently. Say the disaster happened on my watch. Say I'm distracted by my health. Say I'm a liability." She pulled up to his apartment. "Will you come to the meeting? I could use someone on my side." "I'm not a board member." "You're the director of life safety. The program is yours. They'll have questions. You should be there to answer them." "What time?" 3 o'clock. I'll send a car." He got out, went inside, showered, changed clothes, tried to sleep but couldn't. His mind kept running through the night. The blocked exit. The figure in the maintenance coveralls. Something about it nagged at him. At 2:30, a black car arrived. Drove him back to Haven Biotech. The building was cordoned off with yellow tape. Fire department was still inside doing their investigation. The board meeting was at a hotel conference room downtown. Elias walked in at 2:55. 10 board members sat around a table. Clara at the head, an empty chair beside her. "Elias, thank you for coming. Everyone, this is Elias Moore, Director of Life Safety." They nodded. Some smiled. Some didn't. Harrison, the one from the bar, looked at him like he was something stuck to his shoe. "Mr. Moore, tell us about last night. In your professional opinion, was the evacuation handled properly?" "Yes. 450 people evacuated safely. No fatalities. Minor injuries only. The emergency response teams performed exactly as trained." "But the fire happened in a building that was supposedly inspected and safe." "Electrical fires happen. It's why we have fire suppression systems and evacuation protocols. Both worked. Except someone blocked the main exit. That's not protocol. That's sabotage." "Yes, it is. And the police are investigating." Harrison leaned forward. "Here's my concern, Mr. Moore. 3 weeks ago, our CEO had a cardiac event at a company function. Last night there was a fire at another company function. 2 major incidents. 2 months. That's a pattern. The pattern is that we handled both incidents without fatalities. That's success, not failure. Or it's evidence that Ms. Vance is a magnet for disaster, that her health issues make her a target, that this company isn't safe with her at the helm." Clara's face went pale, but she kept her voice steady. "The fire had nothing to do with my health." "Didn't it? You've been distracted. focused on this safety program instead of running the company. Maybe if you'd been paying attention to operations, someone wouldn't have been able to sabotage our event. The safety program is the only reason everyone walked out alive last night," Elias said. His voice was cold. "You want to criticize something? Criticize whoever blocked that exit, because that person tried to kill people, and I'm going to make damn sure they're found." "Mr. Moore, you're out of line." "No, you're out of line. Clara built this company, saved this company, and you want to push her out because she had the audacity to almost die and then work even harder to make sure no one else does." Elias stood. "If you want to fire someone, fire me, but leave her alone." Silence. The board stared at him. Clara looked like she might cry. Then another board member spoke. Older woman, kind eyes, the one who'd told him to leave the mop after he saved Clara. "I agree with Mr. Moore. Clara has led this company through crisis after crisis. She's proven herself time and again, and Mr. Moore's program is exactly what we needed. I vote we support both of them, fully, without qualification." "I second that," another board member said. One by one they voted, 6-4 in favor of keeping Clara as CEO. Harrison and 3 others voted against. It wasn't unanimous, but it was enough. After the meeting, Clara pulled Elias aside. "Thank you for standing up for me. You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did. It was the right thing." "You keep doing the right thing, even when it costs you. Someone wise once told me that trying when you know it's not enough is the bravest thing there is. Guess I'm just trying." She hugged him. He hugged her back. And standing there in a hotel hallway, both of them exhausted and scared and stubborn, they made a silent pact. They'd figure out who started the fire. They'd rebuild the program. They'd prove everyone wrong, together. Because that's what people who save lives do. They don't give up. They don't back down. They keep moving forward, even when the world is burning around them. Especially then. The police came 3 days later. Detective Sarah Mills sat across from Elias in a temporary office Haven Biotech had rented while the main building was being repaired. She was 40-something with tired eyes and a notebook she kept flipping through. "Mr. Moore, walk me through the night of the fire one more time." Elias had already done this twice. Once at the scene, once at the station. But he did it again. Every detail. The alarm, the blocked exit, the evacuation through the kitchen. "And you're certain the main exit was clear earlier in the evening?" "Ms. Vance checked it at 6:30. It was clear." "But you didn't personally verify it?" "No. I was backstage preparing for the presentation." Detective Mills made a note. "We enhanced the security footage. The person who moved that cart, we got a partial on the face." She turned her laptop around, showed him a grainy image. Baseball cap, maintenance coveralls, and a face he recognized. James Reeves, second shift maintenance supervisor. Worked at Haven Biotech for 12 years. "You know him?" Mills asked. "He works for us. Why would he block an exit?" "That's what we're trying to figure out. He's not talking. Lawyered up immediately. But we found some interesting things in his locker. Receipts for accelerant, instructions on how to start an electrical fire, and $50,000 deposited in his bank account 2 days before the gala." Elias felt cold. "Someone paid him." "That's what it looks like. Question is who. The account that transferred the money is offshore, Shell Corporation. We're working with financial crimes to trace it, but it'll take time." After Mills left, Elias sat in silence. Someone had paid Reeves to start a fire, to block an exit, to trap people. The question was, why? His phone rang. Clara. "The detective just left. Did she tell you about Reeves?" "Yeah. And the money. Someone wanted people dead at that gala. Or wanted to make me look bad. Make it seem like Haven Biotech is dangerous. Tank the stock price. Force me out." Her voice shook. "Elias, what if they try again? What if next time we're not lucky? We'll be ready. That's what the program is for." The program almost failed. If that exit had been the only one. But it wasn't. We had backups. We had trained people. We adapted. He paused. Clara, whoever did this, they're scared of what we built. Scared enough to commit arson. That means we're doing something right. She was quiet for a moment. The board wants me to shut down the program. Harrison's been calling other members, saying it's too expensive, too risky, that it attracts negative attention. Are you going to? Hell no, I'm doubling down, expanding it. Every Haven biotech facility, every office, every lab. If someone wants to come after us, they'll find a company full of people who know how to save lives. That's the right call. I know, but I'm scared. Not for me, for Amelia. What if they go after her? What if hurting my daughter is the next move? Elias understood that fear, had lived with it in Afghanistan. Every mission wondering if an IED would take him, if he'd leave someone behind. I'll talk to security. Get a detail on your house, on Amelia's school. We'll keep her safe. Thank you. For everything. For still being here when most people would have run. I don't run anymore. Learned that lesson the hard way. Over the next week, Haven Biotech transformed. Security doubled. Every employee got an ID badge with a photo. Every entrance required keycard access. Cameras everywhere. Elias worked with a private security firm to assess vulnerabilities. They found dozens. Unlocked service doors, blind spots in surveillance, areas where someone could hide or plant something dangerous. He fixed them all. Marcus came by the temporary office on day 5. He looked better each time Elias saw him. Lighter somehow, like he'd put down something heavy. Heard about Reeves. Can't believe it was someone internal. People do terrible things for money. True. But $50,000, that's not life-changing money. That's I'll take the risk money. Which means whoever hired him has a lot more where that came from. Elias had been thinking the same thing. You know the board better than I do. Who has that kind of cash and a reason to hurt Clara? Marcus considered. Harrison's the obvious choice. He's been trying to push her out for months, has the money, has the motive. But Harrison's a coward. He'd never do anything that could trace back to him. Too much risk. Marcus sat down. There's someone else, though, Richard Vance, Clara's uncle. I didn't know she had an uncle. Most people don't. He and Clara's father had a falling out years ago. Richard wanted to take the company public. Clara's father refused, wanted to keep it family-owned. They fought. Richard left, started his own medical device company. It failed, lost everything. And now he wants back in, or wants revenge. If Clara fails, if Haven Biotech collapses, he could buy it cheap. Take what he thinks should have been his. Where is he now? Last I heard, somewhere in Europe. But that doesn't mean he's not pulling strings from there. After Marcus left, Elias called Detective Mills, told her about Richard Vance. She promised to look into it. That night, Elias stayed late at the temporary office, going through files, looking for connections. He was so focused he didn't hear someone come in until they spoke. Working late, Mr. Moore? He spun around. Harrison stood in the doorway. Expensive suit. Cold smile. Mr. Harrison, what are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing. It's nearly midnight. I'm working. What's your excuse? Harrison walked in, looked around the small office. This is quite a come down from the 7th floor, isn't it? But I suppose beggars can't be choosers. What do you want? I want you to understand something. This program of yours, this safety initiative, it's costing the company millions. Money we don't have. Money that should be going to research, to development, to actually making products that save lives instead of teaching secretaries CPR. Those secretaries saved 400 people. By luck. You got lucky. Next time you might not. Harrison leaned against the desk. I'm giving you a chance to resign gracefully. Take a generous severance. Walk away before this gets ugly. And if I don't, Then I'll make sure you're fired. I have 6 votes on the board. Clara only has 4. Do the math. You don't have 6 votes. You have 4. I did have 4. But circumstances change. People change their minds, especially when presented with the right information. What information? Harrison smiled. About your past, your military career, the soldier who died under your care, how you lost your medical license, how Clara hired you out of sentiment, not qualification. That kind of information tends to make board members nervous. Elias stood up, slowly. Are you threatening me? I'm offering you advice. Take the severance. Disappear. Let this company move forward without the anchor of your vanity project. No. No. I'm not resigning. I'm not disappearing. And if you try to smear me or anyone else, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you've been trying to do, including the police. Harrison's smile vanished. Be very careful, Mr. Moore. You're playing a game you don't understand with people who have resources you can't imagine. I understand perfectly. You want Clara gone so you can gut this company and sell it for parts. But it's not going to happen. Not while I'm here. Then I guess we'll see how long you're here. Harrison left. Elias stood in the empty office, hands shaking with anger. He pulled out his phone, called Clara. I just had a visit from Harrison. He tried to threaten me into resigning. What? Clara's voice was sharp. What did he say? Elias repeated the conversation. When he finished, Clara was quiet for a long moment. I'm calling an emergency board meeting, tomorrow. This ends now. The meeting happened at 9 the next morning. Same hotel conference room. But this time Clara came prepared. She stood at the head of the table with a laptop and a look on her face that could cut glass. Thank you all for coming on short notice. We need to discuss the future of Haven Biotech. Specifically, who should be leading it. She opened the laptop. Over the past week, I've had conversations with each of you. Some productive, some less so. And I've made some decisions. She clicked a button. A document appeared on the screen behind her. This is my resignation, effective immediately. I'm stepping down as CEO. The room erupted. Questions. Protests. Harrison looked smug. Clara held up a hand. I'm not finished. I'm stepping down as CEO to focus on what I do best. Innovation. Research. The medical side of this company. I'll be taking the position of Chief Medical Officer. She clicked again. Another document appeared. And I'm recommending to the board that we hire an interim CEO. Someone with business experience. Someone who can handle operations while I handle medicine. So. Who? Someone asked. Patricia Hendricks, our VP of Human Resources. She's been with this company for 15 years. Knows every department. Has my complete trust. And she's agreed to take the position. Harrison stood up. You can't do this. You can't just restructure without board approval. Actually, I can. As majority shareholder, I have that right. What I need from the board is a vote to confirm Patricia. So let's vote. All in favor. 7 hands went up, including 2 who'd voted with Harrison before. All opposed. 3 hands. Harrison and his loyalists. Motion passes. Patricia Hendricks is interim CEO. Clara smiled. Now let's talk about the safety program. I'm proposing we triple the budget, expand to all facilities, make Haven Biotech the gold standard for workplace safety. All in favor. The same 7 hands. Opposed. The same 3. Motion passes. Clara looked directly at Harrison. One more thing. I've been reviewing our board composition. Some members have been here a long time. Some have lost sight of what this company stands for. So I'm exercising my right as majority shareholder to remove 3 board members and appoint 3 new ones, effective immediately. Harrison went pale. You're removing me. You and 2 others who seem to have forgotten that Haven Biotech exists to save lives, not to maximize profits at the expense of people. She handed him an envelope. Your severance package is generous. I suggest you take it." Harrison grabbed the envelope. His hands shook with rage. "This isn't over. I'll sue. I'll go to the press. I'll destroy you." "Try. You'll lose. Now get out of my meeting." Harrison left. The other two followed. The room was silent. Then someone started clapping, the kind woman with gray hair. Others joined in. Within seconds, everyone was applauding. Clara sat down, looked exhausted but relieved. After the meeting, she and Elias stood outside in the parking lot. "That was incredible," he said. "That was terrifying. I've never done anything like that before." "You were perfect, strong, clear, everything a leader should be. I learned from watching you, the way you took control during the fire, the way you stood up to Harrison. You showed me what courage looks like. You've always had courage. You just needed permission to use it." Clara smiled. "So what now? We rebuild, we expand, we make sure what happened never happens again." "Sounds like a plan." They stood there in the sun. Two people who'd been through hell and come out the other side. Not unscathed, but stronger, better. A car pulled up. Detective Mills got out. "Ms. Vance, Mr. Moore, we found the connection to the offshore account." "And?" Clara asked. "Richard Vance, your uncle. He transferred the money to Reeves. We have bank records, email communications, everything we need to prosecute." Clara closed her eyes. "My own family, trying to kill people to get back at me. We've issued a warrant for his arrest. He's in custody in Switzerland. Extradition will take time, but we'll get him back here." After Mills left, Clara turned to Elias. "I need to tell Amelia. She's never met Richard, but she should know. Should understand that sometimes family hurts you. Do you want me to come with you?" "Would you?" "I don't want to do this alone." "Of course." They drove to Clara's house. Amelia was in the yard playing. When she saw them, she ran over. "Mr. Moore, did you come for dinner again?" "Not tonight, sweetheart. Your mom and I need to talk to you about something important." They sat in the living room. Clara explained carefully. About her uncle, about the fire, about how sometimes people do bad things for bad reasons. Amelia listened. When Clara finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "Is he going to jail?" "Yes, for a long time." "Good. He tried to hurt you, and Mr. Moore, and all those people." She looked at Elias. "You saved everyone again. You always save people. I had help, lots of help. But you're the one who knew what to do. That makes you a hero. Heroes are just regular people who don't give up. Remember that." A year later, Haven Biotech reopened their headquarters. The building had been completely renovated. New fire suppression systems. New emergency exits that couldn't be blocked. New everything. And in the lobby, they installed a sculpture. Bronze hands pressed against a bronze chest, performing CPR. Saving a life. The plaque beneath it read, "For the unseen who act when it matters most." The dedication ceremony was small. Just employees. No press. No cameras. Just the people who'd lived through it. Clara stood at the podium. Healthy. Strong. A new heart beating in her chest. The transplant had come through 6 months ago. She'd survived. "A year ago, I died on a stage in this building. And a janitor saved my life. That moment changed everything. Changed me. Changed this company. Changed how we think about safety and preparedness and the value of every single person." She gestured to the sculpture. "This represents all of us. Every person who learned CPR. Every person who stayed calm during the fire. Every person who chose to act instead of freeze. We're all heroes. We're all lifesavers. And I'm proud of every single one of you." Applause. Elias stood in the back, watching, smiling. Amelia found him after the ceremony. She was 8 now, taller, still had her mother's eyes. Mr. Moore, look. She held up a certificate. I'm CPR certified, I took a class, and I passed. That's amazing, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you. Now I can save people too. Just like you. You already save people. Every day. Just by being you. Clara joined them. Thank you. For everything. For saving my life. For building this program. For staying when it got hard. Thank you for giving me a second chance. For believing I was worth saving too. Always. You're family now. You know that, right? You and Marcus and everyone who was there that night. We're all family. Marcus appeared with his wife and 2 kids. He'd remarried, started therapy, made peace with his brother's death. He looked happy. Elias, there's someone I want you to meet. He gestured to his oldest son, 12 years old, serious eyes. This is Ethan, named after my brother. Ethan, this is Elias Moore, the man who tried to save your uncle, the man who taught me about forgiveness. The boy held out his hand. Nice to meet you, sir. My dad says you're a hero. Your dad's wrong. I'm just a guy who knows CPR. That's what heroes say. The boy smiled. It was Ethan's smile, the one from the photos Marcus had shown him. Dad says maybe I can take your class when I'm older. Learn to save people. I'd like that. Come find me when you're ready. That night, Elias went home to his new apartment. Better neighborhood. 2 bedrooms. Windows that didn't leak. He could afford it now. Could afford a lot of things. But what mattered most was on his dresser. Not the silver star, though that was there too. What mattered was the photo next to it. Clara and Amelia, both smiling, both alive. And in Amelia's handwriting at the bottom, "You saved us, now we save others. Love, Amelia and Mommy." Elias looked at it for a long time. Then he turned off the light and went to bed. Tomorrow he'd train more people, save more lives, build something that would outlast him. But tonight he let himself feel what he hadn't felt in years. Peace. The ghosts were quiet now. The guilt had faded. In its place was something better, something earned, purpose, and the knowledge that second chances were real. That redemption was possible. That you could fall as low as a man could fall and still climb back up. One life saved at a time. One person trained at a time. One moment of courage at a time. Because in the end, that's what mattered. Not the medals or the titles or the recognition. Just the quiet knowledge that when someone needed help, you were the person who moved, the person who acted, the person who saved lives, and that was enough. That was everything.